If you're watching this, it means I'm dead. Just kidding. Well, I hope anyway. I've just always wanted to say that they always use it in cheesy movies and television shows. So touch wood, I'm still alive after posting this video. I haven't cursed myself. But the same can't be said for the PlayStation community, with Sony announcing that they are closing every single PlayStation community forum across the globe. So this is a bit of a solemn video. I mean, this was kind of expected by a lot of us that use the forums still. For a few years now, the forum's been going downhill, with Sony no longer caring about it, which is pretty weird considering how PlayStation's meant to be all about the community. I'm using my air quotes there. But hey, this is par for the course of Sony currently. I mean, if you thought the final season of Game of Thrones was handled badly, I mean, HBO need to take notes. Sony's been messing everything up on the community side now for the past couple of years. So you might be asking, like, what is the PlayStation community? You might have never used it before. It began back around the PlayStation 2 era, I think, so around 2000. And obviously that was the go-to place to meet fellow gamers, talk about games, upcoming games, and even get support issues answered. So if you had a problem or a bug with a game or a certain piece of hardware, you'd go there to try and get it resolved. And as the years went on, it grew and grew. They started adding more programs, such as the beta program, where certain trusted members were chosen and allowed to beta test first party games behind the scenes, or even second and third party games. And eventually even more boards were added to serve smaller communities. So say if you're in a specific country, you'd get your own PlayStation community and your own community manager to run that board. So it's all about fostering the community of PlayStation itself, rather than just one big global mess of everyone in one place speaking different languages. But once PlayStation started going more towards social media, and the internet as a whole really slowly stopped using forums as a means of communication, they started preferring things like Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. So obviously PlayStation itself started concentrating its efforts more in that area, and a couple of years ago they fired the entire staff of community managers across the world. But hey, you probably never heard about that because games journalism sucks. And once those community managers were all sacked, the PlayStation community forums were basically on life support, and it was just a matter of time really before Sony just gave up entirely. And so we come to that day, with Sony announcing the closing of the PlayStation community forums across the world on the 27th of February, which is a real shame. I met a lot of great people on there over the years, some I still talk to day to day. If you didn't know, I was an MVP on the PlayStation community forums, well, the EU side anyway. Depending on which region you're in, certain selected users were chosen. The EU side was only about 7 or 8 of us, but on the American side there used to be hundreds. That's why everything used to get leaked, because the American side couldn't keep a secret to save their lives. But the MVP's job was to basically create discussions, competitions, fun activities, and try and get a gauge of the goings on of the general community, because we used to communicate with the community managers to report back to Sony in weekly reports to get things changed. And for a long time that worked well. I mean, at one time before the PlayStation 4 was even launching, we were trying to get more integration with the PS firmware itself, which all the efforts we did only really resulted in the competitions update, if you ever use that tournament competitions thing on PlayStation 4. But yeah, we actually thought about a lot more that never really got used. But hey, it is what it is. Now I have no idea what they've got planned with PlayStation 5. I assume that they'll integrate more features within the firmware to try and create community-driven aspects. The problem is it just doesn't work great on a console with a pad as it does with a keyboard or a phone. The hardware itself, it doesn't create a great environment for communication. And it's the same with social media in many ways. Having long-form discussions on Facebook, Twitter, with lots of people chiming in, it doesn't work that great. I hazard a guess that eventually they'll make another forum down the line, whether that's in 5, 6, 7 years, who knows. As for the rest of us still on the forums, the other MVPs and regular members, I'm not sure what we're going to do. I don't speak for everyone, of course. I think a few of us are thinking of creating another forum. Obviously it'll be nothing to do with PlayStation itself, as they're not interested in supporting the community at all at this point, so it'd be something we do by ourselves. But if you're interested, be sure to hit me up on Twitter, whilst I'm still active of course, because any day now with tweets like mine I'm bound to be banned on Twitter. Or on Discord, I'll leave a link in the description for the Crash Landed Discord channel. With the times changing so rapidly, I guess we can't really blame Sony, even if I do think it's a very short-sighted move. But I do know there's one guy we can blame.